Maximum partner in brief of ongoing progress work on the shutdown of Lagos Infra.
Bring all the traffic into this direction.
We are going to work to ensure that better during the If we don't do what we need to do now, the road will.
Good day and welcome to another interesting episode of your program, Infrastructure Weekly. I am your regular guide on the program, Abosedi Omowuyi. On today's episode of the program, we will be taking you around project sites from road to power to housing and rail to see the strides made by the Buhari administration in bridging the nation's infrastructure deficit. Join us after this break to set sail on the program. Stay tuned.
Coming together of opportunities. This is what
Infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
The federal government has disclosed its readiness to ensure that Nigerians have access to the best infrastructure facilities available to all Nigerians. The federal government said it will also ensure the completion of all abandoned road projects across the country, especially strategic roads like the Lagos-Abeokuta Road, which has been going through one form of construction or the other for the past 16 years. Infrastructure Weekly visited the site of the road and noticed the return of workers of the contracting firm Julius Berger PLC to work.
The story surrounding the old Lagos or Abeokuta Road has as many twists and turns as the big budget movie in the Nigerian movie industry, popularly called Nollywood. From the reign of former military president Olusegun Obasanjo as a civilian leader on return of democracy in 1999, to the reign of former Ogun State Governor Gbenga Daniels, to that of Dimeji Bankole as Speaker of the House of Representatives, stories abound. Many Nigerians, especially those living on the Abule Egba, Kola Alagbado toll gate, Songota to Abeokuta axis, have always expressed frustrations over what they termed the failure of the trio of former government officials to ensure the completion of the road. Perhaps the story many remembered most in the recent history of the 77-kilometer-long road is that of the alleged scuffle between the then Speaker, Dimeji Bankole, and Ogun State Governor during the period, Gbenga Daniels, during the commissioning of the only major success story in the recent history of the road, a bridge. With the award of the contract for the dualization of the road earlier in the year and palliative works having been done on some section of the road, the contractor has now moved to sites. The move to the site, according to the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, is the beginning of the end of the story of suffering, which has been the lot of thousands of Nigerians who use the road daily. Project supervisor from the ministry, Lasisi Adekunle, said the next step is to complete palliative works and some other sections to ensure ease of movement for road users.
The present status of the work as at now is that they are recovering all the damaged area, the bad section of the road, where motorists are not be able to pass for some time. They have recovered it with the use of hardcore and use of stone-based material. The scope of work is the entire. They will rehabilitate the entire route from Lagos to Abeokuta, and the contract is divided into two sections. We have a section 1 which commences from Ikeja to flyover in Nota. That is about 18.5 kilometers. for section 1. Then section 2 commences from 18 plus 500 to 77 plus 300. That is in Abeokuta, end of the project.
He added that all factors that hinder the durability of the road before now have been addressed in a new design with reinforced bays for the road.
You know, when this road was constructed early in the year 2000, it was a single carriageway then, whereby they dualized it. But the present condition of the road now has deteriorated to this level now. Why? Because of inadequacy of line drainage. The scope of works now, what we are going to provide majorly now, is we are going to make sure that we make provision for adequate drainage from the starting point of the project to the end. So if we have enough drainage facility, there won't be damage, there won't be any damage on the road surface. The water will be moving freely into the drains and move away.
He said the project will cost 23 billion naira with a completion period of 4 years and is expected to be a project of the highest quality on delivery.
You can see at my back now that the Julius Baggers are putting up their yard. So immediately they finish their yard, you can see all their construction equipment is on the yard now. So within the next 2 weeks now, by the grace of God, they are going to commence permanent works, especially at that Ilobo junction, where we have a terrible situation now. You can see that they've recovered the other side of the road, that is Abeokuta band. So we are going to commence permanent works on this Lagos band now, a stretch of 2 kilometers.
The nation's most important road, according to many experts, is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and the road to users has been bad or not good enough in the last few years. This has led to the loss of not only manpower but lives on the road. The situation is one that is currently receiving attention, with the road in 2 sections of Lagos-Shagamu and Shagamu-Ibadan. The road, according to the supervising engineer from the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Kayode Ibrahim, will be the first of its kind with modified asphalt and a new way of construction that will ensure the road lasts longer.
The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, according to experts, is the most important road in Nigeria, especially as it supports commerce between Lagos and other parts of the country, and also because of the nation's ports. This has led many users of the road to complain about its level of deterioration. The road has had a kind of a checkered history since 1999, with many efforts made to fix it, all to no avail until the contract was awarded in 2013 by the Goodluck Jonathan administration, but was poorly funded. There's a since changed since the advent of the Buhari administration, with several measures taken to ensure it continues to receive adequate funding like other strategic roads across the country. With this in place, the next concern for Nigerians who use the road is the issue of quality. Nigerians need not to worry, according to the project supervisor from the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. He said the project, when completed, will be the first of its kind in Nigeria.
Now there's an improvement on what we used to have on this project. Now the base course we have is divided into 2 sections now, 2 segments now. You have cross stone base course and an additional layer of asphaltic base course. Before now it used to be just cross rock base course. Now we have about 400 millimeters thickness of cross rock underneath the asphaltic base course. So now our sub base is made of cross rock. It's usually lateritic sub base, but in this place we have cross rock sub base on which we put additional. You put 400 thick of cross rock and asphaltic base course.
He added that all modalities have been put in place to ensure the delivery of a world-class project for Nigerians.
Now the lifespan of this road will be tremendously enhanced, unlike what we used to have. Apart from that, our bitumen that we're using on this road is modified. So we're using polymer modified bitumen for the construction of this road. This is like first of its kind that the government is introducing to ensure that our roads last long than usually do.
On the spot, the project manager for the construction firm, Julius Berger, Thomas Kessley, said his company is working under supervision from the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing to deliver a project all will be proud of.
What I already said, we implement here a complete drainage system to bring the water away, which is the biggest problem here in Nigeria, which is destroying the roads if there's always standing water. So we are creating a drainage system so that the water can be brought away from the road and the asphalt will last longer. This is one point in terms of quality what we're doing. The second is that the existing asphalt layers, they were kind of thin compared to the new one what we put now. Because of the increase of traffic, we need to make the asphalt more strong so that the road will be more durable in future. And in addition to this, we also implemented here on this project new asphalt mixture, which is used the first time in Nigeria, with modified asphalt, which should avoid rotting.
He added that the project has also taken into consideration many developments that were not covered when it was initially awarded in 2013.
Actually, it will take us till end of the year 2021, including all additional structures which will be built to make this road tollable. This means there will be also built toll plazas, new bridges, new flyovers. So this will take us to another 3 to 4 years.
The project is expected to be completed in 3 years with 2 flyovers and 10 pedestrian bridges on the first section.
The program is still Infrastructure Weekly. You can get in touch with us on the social media handles showing on your screen. We will be back after this break for a look at the power sector. Stay with us.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office, you can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government covers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
If you were just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly. For comments, inquiries and feedback, please get in touch on Facebook at facebook.com/Infrastructure Weekly and on Twitter at Infra_Weekly. Now to the power sector. The federal government has continued its transmission expansion and rehabilitation program with the commissioning of the transmission substation at Okpela in Edo State. The managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Usman Guru Mohammed, while performing the commissioning, said the government is putting the blocks in place to enhance electricity supply to all Nigerians.
In line with the policy of the President Buhari administration and power, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has again commissioned another transmission substation in Edo State. The company, which expressed its readiness to providing operational flexibility and reliability of delivering bulk power to distribution companies, international customers, and other customers class that are connected to the national grid, said it is an ongoing process. The managing director of the company stressed that the installation of the transformer is consistent with the industrial policy of the federal government and the Edo State government. He added that the 1x60 MVA and the 132/133 kVA transformer in Okpela will raise the reliability and stability of power supply to the area.
With the installation of 1x60 MVA transformer, the capacity of the substation, which was prior before now, was 15 MVA, has now been raised to 75 MVA. That means we have increased the capacity by over 300%. The installation of the 60 MVA transformer at Opela substation is consistent with the policy of His Excellency, Governor Godwin Obaseki. Given the existence of huge mineral deposits in this location, in this area of Opela, the governor has told us all his plan and key into the policy of His Excellency of industrializing this area because of the existence of huge mineral deposits.
For his part, the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, lauded the Edo State government for tapping into the federal government's self-sustaining electricity policy. While reiterating the federal government commitment to the sector, he said the project is just a small part of what is ongoing in the sector to improve all-round performance.
The governor's plan, which I am fully aware of, will materialize. The governor wants to make our Edo State the center of excellence in energy, the energy state of Nigeria. Say it again. That's what I want to do. As long as I work in NEC, my dream every day is to find out how many 3 or 4 states in this country will be the center of excellence for energy, for power delivery, power utilization. Edo has to be one, and you started it.
In his remarks, the state governor Godwin Obaseki commended NERC, the transmission company of Nigeria, for building the 1x60 MVA 132/133 kV power transformer at the Opela transmission substation in Esako East local government area. He noted that the gesture has sparked off a revolution in Edo State and Nigeria.
You've done this, you continue to invest. We know that on your part as NEC, as TCN, as the Ministry of Power, you are doing your bit. You're trying and we appreciate you. But we also know that this may not translate into electricity in the homes of Edo citizens. Because as you heard yesterday, NEC, we have a very incompetent power distributing company in Edo State. And as we told you yesterday, we have lost confidence in BEDC. We have lost confidence because they've not proven or shown us that they can give us light.
The installation of the 1x60 MVA at Opela 132/133 kVA will also increase the total wheeling capacity of CCN, which was last stimulated December 2017 to be 7,124 MW.
Still staying on the subject of power, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has urged Nigerians, especially Lagos residents, to respect the right-of-way of its transmission lines and towers to enhance safety of the equipment and of residents. Regional manager of the company in charge of transmission in the Lagos zone, Geoffrey Nwokoye, who spoke to Infrastructure Weekly on the issue, said it is worrisome that Lagosians are not observing these rules, considering the terrain in the state.
I would like to advise Lagosians to try as much as possible to adhere to rules laid down for their own safety. Lagos is an industrial hub for us, and we are doing everything possible to maintain and also ensure that insulators are replaced for the 330 kVA. However, the people responsible to execute this project have taken their time to do their analysis and studies. That job will soon begin.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria has now restored power supply to the northeastern part of Nigeria after the tripping off of the Jos-Gombe line over the weekend of 22nd of September after energizing following routine maintenance. In a press statement signed by the General Manager Public Affairs, Ndidi Mba, the company said the lines were restored at 11:30 a.m. on 24th of September. With this, power is now restored to Taraba, Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Yobe, and Gombe State. We will be back after this timeout as we hit the home stretch. Stay with us.
Coming together of opportunities, and this is what
infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information of hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
There is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television, Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
Thanks so much for staying tuned. Get in touch with us on the social media handles showing on your screen for comments, feedback, and inquiries. We hit the home straight today with a look at the National Housing Program and its expected impact on completion. The program, which is still at the pilot phase, has 3,000 units all over the country and has been lauded by most Nigerians as a game changer.
Many Nigerians are homeless because of a housing deficit that exists in the country. This results from unaffordable empty houses scattered all over the country.
I will tell you that we really need it. Affordable houses. I find out that most of the problems of corruption we have, looting and the rest, if you look at it very well, housing is the number one thing. If we have an affordable housing, I don't have to start jumping up and down, go and steal because I need a house. But if I have one that is affordable and there's a mortgage arrangement, it's better for us.
The National Housing Program is the short-term strategy adopted to solve the deficits in the sector in order to increase housing stock in Nigeria. If government builds these houses in one or two states, will it cater for the diverse needs of all Nigerians? The good news is that with a well-thought-out plan, the houses are being implemented in the 33 states, including the Federal Capital Territory.
We're very clear that the country should decide in consultation with the people what kind of house they want. So we're running pilots, and after the pilots are tested and people accept them and they can afford them, then the market will open for rapid mass deployment.
We are using this pilot scheme to try to establish this before rolling out on a massive scale. So by the time these are determined, the intention is that the mode of disposal should be such that the income will be able to be funneled into the program itself, thereby building a housing economy that's more or less self-financing.
Urban and rural dwellers living across the country will now have access to home ownership through the federal housing sector development.
And the housing program was designed with to address not just the housing need, but also in line with the economic recovery and growth plan, touch the lives of the people, so that the components in the building materials are mostly locally produced building materials. So the program is focused on stimulating the local manufacturing, so that virtually all the components being used are locally produced.
What else could be more satisfying for a Nigerian than shelter? There is more, and that is why the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is promoting the use of local contents in the construction of affordable houses across the nation's 6 geopolitical zones. Instead of sitting idle at home, many Nigerians have gained employment opportunities at project sites.
Of unemployment there and there. In our professional side, we don't have any place where you wake up, you go, you work, and then you earn something. And so many challenges, so many demands back home there from the family and your personal needs. But the coming of this work, when I got the job, actually the job has helped me a lot. Right now, one, in terms of knowledge-wise, I've increased my knowledge in the field. Secondly, my bank account is high. at least I can solve one or two problems.
The program has made significant impact in terms of job employment. We went round our sites and we found that on average there are about 1,000 people gaining employment in each of our sites.
In the past, stock of housing was characterized by shanty towns, dilapidated houses, and unsanitary conditions without basic amenities, and it is fueled by a sequence of socio-economic as well as political factors. The present government has continued to review its strategies, fashion new options to address the challenges in housing infrastructure through increased budgetary allocation to the sector by over 700% in the last 3 years to revitalize and position it as a catalyst for development and sustainable growth.
That is it on this week's episode of the program. Join us again next week for another interesting package of Infrastructure Weekly. Until then, continue to support the infrastructure development agenda of the federal government and take ownership of all public utilities around you. Thanks so much for watching. I am Abosadi Omowi. Bye for now.
Bring all the traffic